before we start talking about like all the multiple things you do,
yep,
and successfully do, can you make a brief introduction about yourself and what got you into Collegiate Esports?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, thank you for having me. Absolutely, I love this show. Love watching it. It's a really good day, especially at the time of day that it is. It's always good to put on one like I'm grading and stuff. So absolutely fantastic. Glad to be here. Yeah. I'm Tom Screech. I've been in the esports space, I always say, for quite a while, because I was always in as a fan first. Growing up in Europe, football fan, sports fan, all throughout my life. And then I found this thing called esports. And it really married the two together, my love for video games and then my love for sports. So I was always an esports fan starting out. Wanted to get into esports since I was a kid, just wanted to be a player, that classic pipeline of like, I'll be a player. And then I wasn't good enough to be a player. So I was like, maybe I'll be a coach. And then kind of didn't have that kind of in-game experience, in-game knowledge to be a coach. And then I fell into the business side of things. So my undergrad from the University of Plymouth was in game design. And in there, I kind of fell in love with the business of gaming, right? The business of video games. I wanted to be a producer. I wanted to be a director. I wanted to make games. And it wasn't until I kind of got into my final year of university that I realized that I could do that in esports as well. So then I really kind of pushed to do that. I was volunteering with, groups all around the UK, trying to just help them with how we could organize esports to better from like a kind of a business marketing point of view, because it was very grassroots back then. And then I had a chance to come to America to study my master's degree. I took an MBA up in Baltimore. And really from that point on, my esports journey just like blew up entirely. I interned for a company called Philly Esports. Through there, I met a great guy called Tom Panico. He got me into teaching a little bit at Harrisburg. And as I taught on the side, I got a job at CSL. That turned into Playfly, which turned into Nace Star League. I was running the partnerships on that side. And then really, I'd reached a point where, I was loving the job. I was enjoying it. But the teaching side of things started to really pick up. And I'd always told people that I wanted to be a teacher at some point in my life. I used to tell people I wanted to make my money first and then get into teaching. Yeah. But I got into teaching way earlier. So I didn't have a chance to make my money through esports. Instead, just got into education right away. And that is one of the best career path decisions I've ever made. Getting back into the education system, working with students, building them up to be just professional people in the space has been an absolute joy of mine. That's really where I am today. Long-winded intro.
Yeah, I have to say, like, the teaching part, like, I also like relate to that, because I was like focused on this portion, and then I got this opportunity to teach, and I fell in love with it. So
yeah,
now
brilliant.
I do both things at the same time, and yeah, like helping students, especially like hit those internships. When you're one of the few teachers that actually take the time to do that, they bombard you, but like it's kind of
yeah. No, I made the mistake in class last week of telling a student, I was like, hey, get you into shadow at CFGC, you can come in and shadow the TOing. And then 8 kids were at my desk 20 minutes later. They were like, hey, we heard he could do this. Can we also do this? I was like, I guess so. Yeah, absolutely. I've already said yes.
And with the CFGC, like, what got you to start it?
Yeah.
And yeah,
a guy called Jason Clark. I kind of known him as a mutual in the space for a little while, and then one day we kind of just—it's so funny because it was one of those times where it's like it's not so long ago, but it was long ago when you've worked together to the point that I kind of remember how we met. I just remember always, like, as far back as I can remember, I just remember that we started it, and it was. He just DM'd me, was like, I'm working on this project. I know you know a few people in the space. Like, is there any chance we could see if this is of interest? And I was like, sure, I'll get a survey together. And we sent a survey out to a bunch of people that had signed up, that were interested on Twitter. And we'd had like 150 people say that they were interested. And not just interested, but like interested to the point where, yeah, like they would play in a league. They would absolutely look at supporting their students more. And it was really this space that kind of had never been served before. There's a great line that Jason always says, which is, he got fed up of people always being told to just play Smash, because the fighting game community is that it's a community. It's not like, I just did a lesson on this. It's not like MOBAs, right? Where MOBAs have a very set group of games that they play. FGC, whilst yes, they're very similar and it's a fighting game, they are such different and unique communities, and they are so secular from the other areas of esports that they were often just getting labeled as like, oh, you can play Smash. I often say it's like, imagine telling a guy that wanted to play sim racing, that's great, you can do sim racing, but we've only got Mario Kart. You know what I mean? It's like, well, great, it's still racing, but it's not the games that I want to play. So really, that's how it was born. It was born from the classic business point of a need, an industry a community that wasn't having their needs met, and we sought to plug that. And it's grown not just like every year, but it seems to grow every single week. We seem to be expanding and launching something new. This season, we just launched City of the Wolves because a group of students really wanted to play it, and now we have a group of students playing it. So that's really the core of how it started. Students needed it, and we filled that gap.
Amazing. And to make it sustainable, like, do you monetize from it in some way, sponsors?
Yeah, we just started running memberships for the first year. So the first few years, first couple of years, we were doing free just to completely gain interest. And this year we started charging $50 a student. And we came to that because it was really, what can a student, DoorDash in a week or pick up some sort of odd job to just get enough money to pay. And it helps us then in turn grow the community. It's almost like, yes, it's a registration fee, but it's kind of just like a donation because that money goes straight back to the casters and the students that are helping us run the league anyway. So sustainable in the sense that we have some money now coming in and we can now start to pay the people that are working for us. Sponsorships. Yeah. I mean, back when I used to work at an Star League, I think we were in a space of kind of rapid expansion that companies were very, very eager to test out esports and see what it was about and kind of the glitz and glamour around of it. And I think we suffered a little bit, not we the company, but we the industry of esports suffered that some people got gaming and esports confused in the sense that esports is a type of gaming, yes, but gaming, of course, isn't esports. There's so many games you can play in a non-competitive capacity. And I feel like some people kind of, I don't say misrepresented, but misunderstood the actual sell of the community, which is you're helping to grow the community. This isn't a community that's going to, buy $700 of content on the first advertisement. It's a relationship you're building. So the sponsors that we have at CFGC, they're really about growing our space. Like SGF controllers come in and they just want to get controllers out to our winners. That's like all we're looking for. Logo in return, that type of stuff. And it's really is like just helping the community, just helping to build the space that we exist in, which is perfect. It's exactly how I love to work.
Okay. And if you had to choose between membership only and sponsors, which one would you rather do?
I would always like to be membership fueled, at least for our core operational, because then it's the classic for the people, by the people line. You bring high paying sponsors in. Sometimes you can become beholden to what they want, but I feel like at our core, I don't think that would ever happen to us. We're all the group that run it. We're all very, very, very invested emotionally into how Collegiate grows. So I don't think we would ever bring a sponsor in any way that would change that or shape that.
Okay. And let's move forward with College Esports News, your other project, which I get now. Thank God you guys active again, because I was missing like all my information, the articles and stuff, and also like your podcast. I really watch it. Okay, and whenever I don't have time to watch the podcast, I transcribe it, but I do read all your articles 100%.
Beautiful, amazing,
and it's super valuable information, and I share it internally with our students. So especially those international students that are getting into the scene. So they have
that's amazing.
All like curated information. Like what got you to? Well, I guess I know what got you, because like. In terms of news and information about Collegiate Esports scene, it's like on the internet is like a mess, and like now it's getting better. But 2-3 years ago, it was like you know. So like,
Yeah.
what got you to build
Yeah, so it was
Esports
it was founded by Sheridan. Sheridan and kind of
yeah.
she and a group of students from FSU. They all kind of graduated together. Great friendship. They founded it October 2022, and it came from that exact desire. Again, just like CFGC had an issue where Smash players or other FGC players weren't having that space. She saw that in this space, the news wasn't being represented. We weren't having the storylines told. We weren't having that ancillary support from another organization that helps grow our space, right? It's like how ESPN helps the NFL, the NBA, the NHL. It helps them grow. So it's a very, I think the word is symbiotic relationship, where they kind of like go together, they work together to go for a common goal. And in Collegiate Esports, we don't really have that, right? We have publishers that, yes, look to help us. We've got esports media spaces that, yes, talk about esports and they'll feature Collegiate Esports, but we didn't really have a dedicated vertical in that space. So that's when they founded that. And I locked onto it immediately because it was something that I was playing around with. I'd made an account called the Pole Esports to like try and do articles, and I just completely ran out of mental space to do it. And I saw them start it, kept in tabs for a few months, and then basically annoyed them to the point where they were like, look, do you want a space to help us with some stuff? Because you keep DMing us all the time and offering if you can help. And would that get you to shut up if we let you help? So that's really how I got my place in there, which is how I get my place in most places. Annoy them until they say yes.
I mean, that's experience in business development, you know, like
yeah,
all the reach out and follow-ups, you know, that's
yeah. And it's just like it was the classic case of there was work to do. There was things I could do to help them, you know, just take things. I don't say take things more serious because they were doing that already, but just take things off their plate, right? Sheridan does quite literally everything. It's incredible the work ethic and passion she has for CEN. Same with the whole rest of the team. We have an insanely amazing executive team that really has kind of led the way in a really beautiful rebuild, because it's community at the core, right? It's providing the right storylines for the people. You know, what are the areas that aren't getting, I don't want to say attention because a lot of places get attention, but like the right attention, the right care, the right support. Torchbearers as well is a great product that we produce because it has a story. It's not, yes, it's a podcast. And we've had this conversation many times because it's like, you know, we come up with an idea and it's like, that would be brilliant if it was a podcast, but this is about the torches that we have carried, right? We are the torchbearers. There's a clever little bit of marketing in there. You know, we are the torchbearers that are carrying this forward. So we want to speak with people that maybe haven't had a chance to not tell their story, because, you know, we've had people on that have told their story before, but tell it in kind of this unique capacity. K-Bot does a brilliant job of getting information out of people. It's a really good conversation. We were there when the Kurt Melcher episode was recorded, and that it's just fantastic to hear the stories is really what we were there to do. And I think we're achieving it tenfold. I think, like you said, the use cases of sending it to your students, that's exactly what we want. And the fact that we have kids in Europe that are now reading our content is just insane. It's mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, I really enjoyed your last episode with Kurt, you know.
Fantastic.
How the first program, you know, like they built the first program, and is it the 10th anniversary of College Esports?
I think, I'm pretty sure that number's been floated around, because 2015 is when
I
most
saw it on
people
social
kind of put
media.
that line. Yeah, so it's I mean, it's a decade, it's a long time. I was in university in 2015, so it's that classic line of like, I wish we had it back in the day, because we did have it. It was in such a small capacity, but like, the capacity it's at now is beyond insane. I love the story of Kurt when he was talking about how like he had 2 teams of challenger players. It's just mind blowing in the space of esports is now, like having 2 teams that are that stacked. Beyond impressive.
Back then, you know, like a challenger player, like I can get an education for free because like he recruited them like full tuition, right? I can, you know, and you got like a bunch of international students as well.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it's really cool. It's a really cool story.
Yeah, amazing. And how do you plan on? Because I believe, from a personal opinion, that media, and especially the media that you guys are curating, is how you promote Collegiate Esports, and how you basically make it grow. And you're seeing more esport programs in the college scene. Like putting more emphasis in media. So what is the objective? How do you want to portray Collegiate Esports, or how do you want to communicate it?
Yeah, it's a great question. If programs, utilizing media is like such a king of marketing, because you give yourself multiple verticals to work with. You can find fans on multiple different levels. With Collegiate Esports News, it's more about, I think we've kind of, I don't want to say we've accepted that our growth is natural, but it's about building the right fans, and sharing the right stories. Not that we're like keeping anything behind, but it's like really finding what that value is for people. Because there is so much to talk about in collegiate, sometimes we are worried that it's like just gossiping, right? We don't want to just talk about bans. We don't want to just talk about this player's been suspended. This program, someone said something in the live chat they shouldn't have. This person's tweeted something they shouldn't have. We really do want to kind of help grow the space. So it's sharing, key stories. It's talking about the growth of something. It's also talking about how something, I don't want to say collapse, but how things fail. Helping to educate the space. Just kind of getting as many eyes on it and getting people curious and getting people caring is really the key thing. It's pushing content that people, like you said, aren't just going to scroll through and go, oh, okay, yeah, someone's been banned. That's cool. It's like, oh, I really want to read this. And like, I'll look up who the author is, and I'll follow them on Twitter, and I'll engage with the content, and I'll share it, and I'll start to actually build it as part of my like routine. You know what I mean? Like I envision it at the point where we get to where it's, we can get to like an ESPN app where we can start sharing news articles, and it can ping people's phones when something gets put, like growing it naturally that way. And doing things that make sense, not just scaling in a horizontal capacity that builds us no vertical, right? We're having core foundations that we can build, like Torchbearers. Torchbearers is a core foundation we can just build on.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like when you post articles or the podcast, like in terms of engagement compared to what I see on X, for example, you guys have the best metrics, and I can see all the reposts.
Our engagement is
likes,
crazy. Yeah, like
all the comments, and it's either the engagement of you guys or when someone gets criticized for something, as well. But like in terms of valuable information, that you want to watch, like you guys have the best engagement on X.
It's thank you. I appreciate that. No, that's, and again, there's props to the amazing team that we have that understand the space so intricately and are so on top of the ball. It's brilliant for me. I'm always very nosy, so I love seeing in the channel that we have where we like just drop the Twitter posts of something like, oh, this happened. It's great for me. I got to go, oh, this is juicy. No, and it's fascinating. No, the engagement that we see, the people that love what we do, it's everything to us. You know what I mean? It's like, it's every time we post, we really want people to say, drop a comment, start a conversation. It's like, the classic LinkedIn, share your thoughts and feelings below. What would you guys do differently? One of those conversation starters. That's what we really want, because it's get people talking about it. That's how we grow.
Yeah, that's for sure. And how's the monetization going in College Esports News? Because like I saw something like you were looking for donations. What other ways are you trying to make it a bit
it's
sustainable work?
Yeah, it's funny because it's not like we can charge membership. So we are on a completely like, sponsorship based revenue where we have partners that come in, like we had Neuroptima help us. We've worked with other people that have just been able to help us kind of cover the costs. I mean, that's really the stage we're in. And then fundraising. because we are a neutral party in the space, we'll say, it's kind of, we sit on an easier point for fundraising, because it's not like we have an agenda we're trying to carry, and thus some people are like, I don't want to help them raise money because they're a league that I don't like, or they have TO I don't like, or like I played there before and I didn't enjoy the experience. We're in a position where, like, look, you help us, in turn we can get more interns paid, we can pay our editors more, we can pay our writers more. They're all paid right now, which is brilliant, but we always want to pay them more to make them happier, which that's the goal of any company, right? Is just to make, well, some companies just want to make people happy. That's really the business we're in. But it's like finding the partners that just want to help us. It's finding the right people that don't mind dropping $150 on the fundraising, just to make sure that they can see that mission carried a little bit further. And that's why we rely on it. It's community built. It really is.
Amazing. Regarding now, I want to get into more like the academic side of esports, and well, your role as a university professor, right?
Yeah.
Like, there is this misconception. I mean, there are a lot of unis doing esports management degrees. Some are better than others, and people criticizing them. People, find the value. So, from a professor, that does this full time, what are like key things that a student searching for an esports management degree has to look at?
Yeah.
A decision?
I always say, if you're coming outside of America, understanding where in America the college is always a key thing. There's been a lot of people, especially for me, like I'll be talking to a college. This happened the other week. I can't remember the name of it. And I was like, I did not know they were in middle of nowhere, Kansas. Like I read the name and I had assumed it sounds like an East Coast school. So I'd always thought they were East Coast. I had made that assumption. So that's the number one. Make sure you know where the school is, as a European. The rest is really, I guess it's kind of understanding what an actual esports degree is. Esports is the education vessel. It's not the, I want to say, like the be all and end all of the degree, right? Like, I've taught 15 classes, and through those 15 classes, they all not only talk about esports, they talk about other sports, they talk about live event, they talk about movies. We look at concerts, DJ set, like we look at the live event management industry, because that's really what esports is. It's a live event. We're like a service industry. We get there early, we set up, we make sure people have a good time, they leave, and we shut down, right? That is the full length of what we do. So that's really how I frame it to students is yes, it's esports, and yes, we're going to talk about video games, and yes, I'll do a lesson on the Fortnite World Cup, but through that, it's pausing the video every 5 minutes and being like, okay, logistics, what are we looking at here? What is the staging here? What cabling are they using? How many lighting do you think they have? What is the internet? Why are their parents on the bus with the players? Oh, it's because they're minors, so they need people to go with them. It's really learning that there are lots of things you can do, I suppose, as well. I get a few people that talk to me about wanting to do a degree, and it's really just them wanting to be a player and kind of thinking esports is an easier path to take, because it's not game design, it's not computer science, it's not business, it's not project management. It kind of sits in between all of that. And they think because they know gaming, it's going to be a free degree. But then, I'm making them do a financial report on TwitchCon, or I'm getting them to assess which partner would be better, for an esports team. I am running them through a full broadcasting runtime, how to build a run sheet, how to talk to clients, how to pitch things, I run them through the entire sales pipeline, CRM management, B2B and B2C sales call, cold calling, like all of those skills. are imperative to be able to do esports better. So that's really kind of the core of it, is like understanding that it's not a mess around degree. It's not a come play games and learn how to describe how to gank better. You know what I mean? It's the supporting industry around it, which I always try to tell people that's what we're really looking at.
Yeah, because there are many people out there that say, instead of an esports management degree, just do, a bachelor in business or sports management.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, at esports, when it's like, especially in talent scouting and marketing, if I see, a student that has or individual that has, an esports management degree, like, already my subconscious is like, okay, he knows what he's talking about, because like you see so many people like wanting to get into gaming and esports, but they don't have the knowledge. So that prior knowledge, unconsciously is an assurance. And then you have a call with them and you see the motivation and you're like, yes,
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like it's a space for people to be passionate and go to college. You know what I mean? It's like the students that come to do esports looked at game design and was like, I don't want to build games. I like games. And then they looked at computer science. And they're like, I don't want to code and understand that side of things. I like video games. And then they look at project management and it's not right. They look at business and it's not right. And then, you look at an esports management degree and it's got all of those different classes. Like, I have a lesson on what's a video game. You know what I mean? I have a lesson on, I don't have a lesson on coding, but I have lessons on IT, how to set up a router, how to read an electrical map, how to not plug things in wrong and then short circuit the whole building. It's like it has all of those elements just wrapped up in a different name. It's like a sports management degree if the sport you were choosing was video gaming. That's like as easy to put it as it is.
Yeah. I would say more in Europe 10, but maybe in the US 20 years ago, sports management degrees was like super niche and was like, whatever, like business,
I come from a town that has a surf management degree. You know what I mean? Like surf sciences. In England, we had all the time golfing sciences degrees. Like, you can sit down and say that it's not needed, but why should we not let a student go to school and experience university and build those core skills that every student does, like showing up on time, deadlines, research, writing, all of those things. Like, if a kid can go to school for 4 years and just practice those core skills whilst learning about a topic they are really genuinely interested in and engage more with, then I have never seen an issue with it, because they engage so much more. I've done lessons where I'll do the first half an hour looking at a really boring financial report, and then we'll switch it to like, all right, now let's look at DreamHack and we'll estimate how they do their financials. And then suddenly the kid that hasn't talked for the last hour is like, well, I really think the VIP pricing could have been different because of X, Y, Z. And you're like, see, because you care about it. You want to talk about it now. It's like, I let the kids that really like Brawlhalla write essays on the microtransaction system in that game, or ways they'd improve the community management. And they don't realize it, but they're actually doing, like core business marketing and community management and finances.
And nowadays, business will pay you like to activate in communities, right? Like, that's the new way that they're trying to activate. And here in Spain, I have a colleague that he has an agency, like, and he has like very big clients like Burger King, etc. And they're paying, to activate it in communities, because that's the next way, like the best way to, gain new clients.
Absolutely.
So no, that's amazing. And where do you, like, with your teaching, with with the media side of things, with the community you're building in the fighting game scene, like, what do you want? What do you want the collegiate esports scene to go? What are you hoping for?
I think where I hope it to go is I think where it is going right now, which is just general acceptance. The amount of people that I speak to nowadays they tell me that they're like, they're in the older millennials, young Gen X, that their kids are now turning 15, 16. All they tell me about is how their kids are obsessed with esports and they want to get into it and they want to do it. And that is how we grow that space. Is this younger audience are now going to be more and more and more and more and more and progressively more prepared for this industry. And eventually one day I won't need to do a 110 intro to esports class because everyone will know basic enough information about esports. Because it is crazy. Like I'll do my intro to esports class and I'll have kids that are like, I didn't know about the LCS. That was a really interesting, like I didn't know League of Legends had a world finals. And I'm like, see, that's part of the problem because you live in your own esports bubble. All you care about is fighting games, or all you care about is FPS. So you won't, and that's not me blaming them. That's just the nature of sports, right? You have people that like the NHL that don't know who Michael Jordan is. You like people that love Michael Jordan but don't know who Tom Brady is. It's how it happens. So it's generally that wider information base. I have crazy ADHD, so I picked up every game possible. So that's why I know about every game possible. I didn't get good in any of them. If I'd stuck to one, maybe. But I was the guy that was like switching from League of Legends to Rocket League to Call of Duty to Battlefield to World of Warcraft, to StarCraft, to I just played all of them. So I got to know a really good general base of how all these games work. And like the leg up it gave me in my early career in esports was insane. Because we were able to say like, a client would be like, hey, can we do an activation on this game? And I was like, well, yeah, but this is the best way to do it. This is the way you don't do it in an invasive fashion, because I'd played it. I'd known it's putting yourself in the mind of the audience, right? And I tell my students all the time, you and I included in this generation of esports people, we are the target market for esports. For continued esports fans, we are that target market. So if there's something we don't like, then maybe we should listen to that fact that we don't like it and it doesn't make sense in this space. And that's how we should act. So I just see it continue to grow. I see more students taking esports management degrees. I see higher talent available for scholarships and varsity play. And I see schools eventually adopting it because it is, I talk about it in event management. It's the change mechanic of an event. You go to an event to change. You go to an event because it is better to be there than it is not to be there. And I feel like that is what esports is going to be, is they'll realize that this brings the entire campus together. And we have people, we have pre-med students, we have nursing students, we have fashion students, we have marketing students, we have game kids, and they're all connected by their love of gaming. And I think that's where it'll go is like Syracuse, for example, with their arena, it's the gaming and esports space, right? It's combining those two on campus to really create that community. And yes, schools are closing and schools are shutting programs, but 9 times out of 10, it's for reasons that have nothing to do with the fact that the esports program underperformed or something went wrong. It's just a financial cut, and often they're they're one of the ones on the chopping block to get cut. There's other schools that cut other departments and keep esports, right? We see that, and they're going to be hyperinflated. And when one does close, it'll be, big news because it's something none of us want to see. But that doesn't mean that there's an overarching trend of programs closing. I think it's the other way. I think there are more and it's also sorry, I lecture as being a teacher. It's esports looks different for everyone, right? If a school wants to be a scholarship D1, win every tournament school, go for it. Go and compete with Sinclair. Go and compete with Maryville. Go and compete with Winthrop. And sure, knock them off the perch. Brilliant, go for it. But if your esports goal is to just create a cool feeling on campus, then that is what esports is for you. And no one should be able to tell you that that isn't what esports is, right? It is subjective because it is an art form. It's not a science. It's a liberal art. We are not scientists. We are artists. We are creating a live event. We wouldn't care about how our stream looks if we weren't artists. We wouldn't care about how our pitch decks look if we weren't artists. It is a liberal art. So I I tell people that all the time. You know, it is what it is for you. If you want to make a program and your school is like, hey, our president loves Rocket League, so all we care about is you having the best Rocket League team possible, then that's what esports is for you. If someone says, we want to have the highest number of people for the club across campus, then that's what it is for you. You're not going to go out and recruit. You're not going to go out and try and build a Rocket League championship team, because your goal is to just grow the program, is to have more people involved, is to stream weekly, to give these students a reason to come to campus after class, right? It is a dynamic thing. It isn't a set static element that we can just, you know, like a football program, you have a football program to try and win the college football bowl. That's kind of the general thing. Other places will sure just have a football program to have campus feeling, right? Some places will have a football program to get students in for attention. It's all different. That's why we don't see these smallest colleges trying to defeat Alabama every single, well, I don't know if they're doing it anymore now. I don't follow college football. They're the first thing that came to my head. You know, that they don't try to compete, because why should they? They have their own missions. They have their own goals. It's an art form. It's not a science. So when people always say, I've got the formula for sustainable esports, it's like, you don't, because next month esports can change because it's fluid. It's not a science.
Brendan in the chat says, esports as an art form. Well said.
Thank you, Brendan. Thank you, Brendan. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, so would you say, like, from your explanation, like, would you say that, like, programs drop off because they're the newest program and the administration doesn't have the knowledge about the value it can bring, and they're like, boom.
It's that. Or often they're like, you know, they're the most recent last in, first out. You know, sometimes it happens. You can join a company and beat their top salesman, and the next month they need to cut contracts, and they run by last in, first out, and you're gone. You know what I mean? It's like, sometimes that's just a decision that's made. There is the issue in esports that we do have a lot of presidents and provosts that don't understand it. But what you find is, like, the ones that understand it really get it, and they really understand the full impact, and they really understand the community it brings, and they really understand the students it helps. And quite often it's sometimes they just don't see it. You know, it's not until they cut a program and they realize that 212 students now have no reason to come to campus after class. They realize that they had a broadcasting team of 15, right? They realize that, shit, now our social media managers don't have anything to do. So it's really a place of, like, it's just goal alignment. Someone can make a decision in a vacuum and it doesn't represent the effort of a program, and they can get cut.
What I was just thinking when you were saying this is Humber's University. Like, now the students on X, you know, are like, you know, wanting to continue the program no matter what.
Yeah, and it's awful. It's like, and it sucks because Jorge, like, just got the director job. You know, Katie before was a fantastic director. They were set up so well. That, you know, they just released a new jersey. This came out of the bluest of blues, the leftist of left fields. You know what I mean? Like, blindsided everyone. But that decision was, I don't know how it was made. I don't know the decisions in it, but it was probably made by someone up the chain that doesn't understand the full impact of esports, didn't have a relationship with the program, and may have just ignored what other people, they may have had an email that came through and said, look, I think you should reconsider this. There's 200 students or 150 students, and they just didn't read it. You know what I mean? The world suffers from negligent leaders. And I'm not trying to say that anyone is, I'm just saying it can happen. And that's not something we should, you know, light the braziers and sound the alarms and say that no one cares across the board. But it is sad. It's just the nature of the beast sometimes. You know, one of the things I had to get used to being in America is the at-will contract. You know what I mean? As much as I give to my company, they can fire me at will at any point. I can quit at any point. Decisions can be made at any time. It just happens. And I would, if it happened to me, I'd fight like hell. I would not take, you know what I mean? And I know the team from Converse are doing the exact same thing. I rarely ever take a decision lightly. I rarely ever listen to my bosses saying we shouldn't do
every person in the administration until they say, okay, we're having the program back.
yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, show up to their doors, you know, go to their offices. And sometimes you can do all that and the decision is still no, because someone doesn't understand it. And that's the sad fact of esports, but also life in general. I mean, you and I have probably worked on so many projects that you're like, this is brilliant. It's going to make so much of a difference. It's going to be awesome. Let's do it. And then you have to check it by someone, and that someone says, no, I don't, it's not in our, that's not what we're going to do this year. And it's like, cool, fine. Nothing I can do there. You know what I mean? It's just, it is what it is sometimes. Doesn't mean it's not shit.
Yeah, honestly. Tom, before we wrap up, is there anything that you would like to mention that we haven't talked about?
No, this has been a fantastic conversation. I got to harp on about my esports as an art form that I always like to talk about, which I'm glad it's got to get out, because you know, when I do a lesson on understanding the genres within esports, I love it because we get to talk about Valorant as a tactical shooter and we get to talk about Valorant as a hero shooter. You know what I mean? It moves between the two, and then they could decide to change the bullet velocity and suddenly it's not attack shooter anymore. So it's just, if there's one thing anyone takes away from this, is that it is dynamic, and the best skill you could have in this space is adaptability above all else, and level-headedness.
Programs have been adapting, because like in sports you fall under athletics or even, you know, like D1, D2, D3, and you don't have scholarships. But like esports, sometimes every program like focuses in one thing more than the other, not only the competitive but like in other areas. Do you think like for the long-term sustainability, well, I don't know about sustainability, for the long term, like College Esports has to fall under an athletics or focus on the competitive? Because if not, it's always going to be the same volatility, or not.
If the
we can't
goal,
predict the future.
I can't predict the future. If the goal of the industry is to have alignment across the board, I would say yes, we should put everything under athletics so we can get the proper strength and conditioning, we can get the funds from athletics, we can be treated like a sport program. The caveat is that esports itself is an athletic department. It isn't. Yes, we could say our League of Legends program should be under athletics. We should say our Rocket League program should be under athletics. Yeah, but esports is its own department. So it's sometimes those departments work better in business. Shenandoah is a great example. You know, they're under a business school. They have a really good relationship with their business school and their business department, and they see great success through that because they are achieving the goals that they have been set. Some programs are better under athletics. It's a cop-out answer, but it's goal-based.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like sometimes it is easier to be under student life because then there's no red tape. But then you might not get the same jersey supplier as your Nike-based football team has. So it's. I would say, to give it a solidified answer, yes, under athletics would be great for everyone, but I know that has its pitfalls, and that's purely from a consolidation point of view. And I think that esports isn't in enough of a consolidated state to require every program to be under esports. Every program to be under athletics. Sorry.
Yeah, time will tell. Honestly.
Yeah, it will. It will.
Tom, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. For sure, you added a lot of value to the people here, and hopefully we can repeat it in the near future.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the invitation.